Dia Rogers, also known as the Trendy Socialite, is a lifestyle designer and brand consultant. Her calling is to help empower others to develop and pursue their purpose. And as a result, she is known on Periscope as the Purpose Pusher. She seeks to equip others daily with the motivation and tools necessary to create and design the life they want. In 2012, Adia founded International Natural Hair Meetup Day, INHMD, giving women around the world the opportunity to meet and network with others and share information, techniques, inspiration, and other beauty tips to guide each other in their natural hair journeys. She believes in being a lifelong learner and pursuing passions, no matter how different that path may be. Please welcome to the panel, Adia Rogers.
Hello. Good evening. Yay! I am so very excited to be here with you this evening. We are going to have an amazing time. And so I hope that you will sit back, relax, enjoy, and just take note of some things that we're going to talk about this evening. Shout out to everyone that is here. So just a couple of housekeeping things. When Bishop comes out, I really need for you to cheer really loudly. I want Facebook to be like, whoa, there are tons of people out there. So I really want you to cheer extremely loudly. Also, can you let me know, is it live on Facebook now? It is. We're live on Facebook now. Yay! Hey, Facebook! Yay! All right. So if you are in here and you have your phones, if you will go to the Power of His Presence Facebook page and share this to your personal profile, and if you have a Facebook page, share it there as well. We want as many people as possible to join us for our conversation with Bishop T.C. this evening. Are y'all excited? Are you ready? I am too. So if you will turn your attentions to the screen, we're going to get started really soon.
What really made me purchase the book was his excitement. When he described what we can expect, I thought, okay, I want some of that.
Pastor and listen to his word today, it made me purchase the book. I want to learn more.
I'm real excited to read the book. I've been at a point in my life where I've gone through some things and, it's time to renew my mind.
I want to be limitless. So when I saw the title and after hearing him speak with his enthusiasm and his energy, I was excited to purchase the book and see what hidden gems were included in the text. So I'm excited to read the book.
I believe that this book, Limitless, is going to take me to a whole nother level, and that is why I got the book.
Bishop T.C. Daniels is a native of Greenville, North Carolina. He has been dedicated to building people in faith and the kingdom of God for more than half his life. In 2003, he, along with his wife, founded Power of His Presence Church. Under his leadership, the church has experienced significant growth, both spiritually and physically. Through his many years of experience as an information technology professional, it would lead to significant innovation and relevant illustrations as he shares the dynamic message of faith. Creativity, passion, loyalty, faith, and his ability to connect is causing Bishop Daniels to truly become a sought-after, significant, and influential leader of our current day. When you experience the ministry of Bishop Daniels, it will make you laugh, think, cry, and ultimately cause you to believe for rain when there is not a cloud in the sky, but will give you the faith to show off your umbrella. You will remember to live a life so that others can say, now that right there, that is hope in motion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Bishop T.C. Daniels.
Hey. Hey. How is everybody? Good, good. All right.
All right.
Hey.
I have been looking forward to this
Oh,
for.
man.
Get comfortable?
Yeah. Oh, this is
You're in the
nice.
quiz chair. That's what I call it.
Yeah, this is nice.
It is, isn't it? Fancy.
Yeah.
So I have been looking forward to this conversation. So thank you
man.
so much. I will say this is the book that almost got me kicked off of an airplane
Oh, wow.
because I was reading it as we were about to take off, and I was inboxing Bishop, and I said that, oh my gosh, Bishop, this is so good. This is so good. And the stewardess was looking at me like, yeah, we have to take off now. So what are you doing? But yes, this is an amazing book. So I'm excited about talking to you tonight about the book Limitless. My first question is, what does the word limitless mean?
You started out with a ring dinger, didn't you?
Yep.
Limitless. It's a very interesting word because when it's separate, nobody desires the two. Nobody wants to be limited. Nobody wants less. But when you put it together, it brings about a whole different meaning. Limitless. I thought about the title before I put it on the book because, you know, being in a finite body, it is impossible to achieve a limitless status. And so that's why we came up with the tagline, it's not the amount, it is the access. And so, and in the book, we talk about from Abraham to Joseph to myself about how God gives you access in various levels of life through partnership, through stewardship, through honor, through obedience. So,
yes, and we're going to talk about all of those things tonight, absolutely. So there are lots of words that are somewhat similar to limitless. Why did you choose the word limitless as opposed to another word?
Again, it was our theme for the year, and it came based out of Genesis when God gives Abram a point of reference. He says, "Go out, look up at the stars. If you can count them, then that's how many descendants you'll have." And so I am a imaginary thinker. When I read the scripture, I see pictures. And so I'm imagining this guy going out trying to count stars. I even went out a couple of times in my backyard and looked up and tried to count. But you find yourself being lost real quickly and starting over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then did I count that one before, or did I not count it? Did I count it before? And so you find out there is, it's infinite possibilities in the universe. And so that's where the word came from. When there was a point of reference, there was no number at what God wanted to do in his life. He said, I don't want to give you an amount. I want to give you an access. Because if you look at Abram's story, he didn't want a lot. He just wanted one kid.
Right.
He just wanted one kid.
Right.
And so when I looked at that particular thought, I was like, man, this is not about an amount. It's about access. And we understand that God is an infinite God and his abilities are limitless.
That's good, Bishop.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's good. So I feel like the word limitless is more than just a word. I feel like it is a concept and a strategy that we can take, not only that we can use in our life, not only now, but definitely in the future. How does the concept and the strategy of limitless impact how we see and know God?
The book, like the Bible is made up of parables. Jesus taught in parables, which are stories. And it's more than just a story that you hear going to bed at night, telling your kids to read, to learn, to listen, and to understand, and to have their memory verse tagged in. But the Bible itself is also a strategy. The scripture tells us how to live. as well. And the book is kind of patterned after that. Is, Limitless is also a strategy to the point. I got to go back to Abram again because he's one of my characters I use in the Bible. In Romans chapter 4, when he looked at his own body after what God told him to do, he said, hey, man, listen, I'm old, I'm weak, my wife is barren. But, the scripture says he staggered not at the promises of God, but yet grew strong while praising and giving glory to God. Romans chapter 4, verses 19 and 20 says that. And so in that, it shows me how to stand in the midst of weakness. And so that's what makes Limitless a strategy as well as a story. I don't know if any of you ever faced anything, man, that it looked like it was not going to work out. Your check couldn't do it. Your connections couldn't do it. Your history couldn't do it. But yet the endurance itself was a strategy all by itself. It just simply just means really just like hang on in there. Just hang on in there. That's really what it is.
Yes, I love that. That is great. So one of the things that I inboxed you while I was sitting on the plane when I started reading your book was in chapter 1 you wrote, growth without partnership will always suffer tremendously due to limitation. And I love this concept because how does partnership impact us living a limitless life and having a limitless mindset?
That came from the widow woman,
right?
and her sons. She had 2 sons. She was in debt. She owed the debtor. The debtor threatened to come take her 2 sons. And she says, okay, all right, I don't have enough. And the man of God came with the word and asked her, what do you have in the house? And a lot of times we don't take time to do personal inventory and check out what we have before we are looking for exterior resources. And truth be told is we have enough right inside of us right now.
Yes.
Those who are sitting in this audience, those who are streaming online, listen, you don't have to look further than yourself because God has invested enough in you to win. I like to say what Les Brown says, it's not over until you win. And so that's one of the things. And for myself, how the partnership came about. Well, look back to the woman for a second. She had a little oil in the house, and then she was instructed to go borrow vessels. Wait a minute, you're already in debt.
Right.
You already don't have enough to pay what you owe now. Now you want me to go borrow something else. That doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
Doesn't make sense to me. It seems like the strategy or the concept would be, hey, pay off what you got. But yet the man of God says, see, God doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. This book really come about really to make any sense to me.
We're going to talk about that too.
So go borrow vessels. And when the boys went from door to door, house to house, getting vessels, that was a concept of partnership. In other words, she had the capability, but she lacked the capacity. And what partnership does is it expands our capacity to do more of what we're capable of doing anyway.
Yes. I need to take notes. Is it bad that the host wants to take notes?
No.
I need Evernote.
Wow.
So has this principle of partnership played out in your own life?
Man, absolutely. Well, this is my first book, and like I said, I couldn't have imagined how it worked out. We was able to go onto the Word Network, which is a nationally televised Christian television.
Don't gloss over that. That is huge for someone with a first book to end up on not just national, Bishop, international, because it's seen in other countries.
Yeah, 200 countries and I think 90 million homes, I think was and they've replayed it over and over and over again that I've seen. So,
and you're saying that came about?
But how that came about was, this is what I like about the Lord, because you don't have to owe anybody anything as long as you just listen to Him. It was a friend of mine that says, hey, you should take your book on the Word Network. It was just a conversation in passing. And I said, man, sure, that sounds great. And so my wife, who's here tonight, had to preach in Kinston one night. Well, because I preach all the time and I travel all the time, I said, well, honey, go ahead, have a good service, and I'll just stay home. I was on my way to pick up some food, literally. I was in sweatpants, and my wife's, one of her sisters texted and asked, was I coming to the service? And I was actually on my way to pick up my order, and I was getting a text back and say, hey, does she really want me to come? But then I stopped the text and said, well, if my wife is asking me to come, then she really wants me to be there. Long story short, I came, changed clothes, went to the service, and got there. She preached, the paint off the wall. It was just crazy. And so after the service, there was a guy from Detroit that was there, and he had just written a book. I had just written a book. And that started the conversation, and he was from Detroit, and I just happened to know that the Word Network was in Detroit. And so he said, wow, he said, you trying to get your book on the Word Network? I said, yeah, a friend of mine mentioned it to me. He said, well, I used to work with the guy you're trying to get on with for 10 years. He gave me my start in the TV. I said, wow. And so he took my number and everything, and I think it was maybe 8 to 10 days later, he said, send me your name, birthday, night, day you want to be on, all that kind of stuff. And next thing you know, I got an email saying, hey, we invite you to come on the Word Network.
Wow.
So, if it was just a little whisper, if I would have never have gone to the service, those little nudges, and there was a connection that was there.
Right.
In other words, there was a vessel that was there.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There was, and I really want to just put a pin here. And how many vessels have you ran by trying to hurry up and get the Golden Corral after service? Because
I ran past a few.
We don't like to stay long after service. We hurry up and get in, and maybe there was vessels that's been a member of the same church that you've been in for years.
Absolutely.
But so that's why I never really tried to omit a hello.
Yes. Such practical wisdom.
Yeah, just a,
yes, sir.
A hello, and
yes.
And I didn't know him. He didn't know me. They mentioned my book, and that's what brought him to me. And so the book itself is actually self-fulfilling. It's giving me access to places that I never had a key to.
Right.
So.
Right, because you didn't have necessarily the capacity.
That's right. I had the capability.
Of course.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I was confident on the camera.
Right.
But I just needed the access to get in front of it.
Exactly.
So.
Wow, that's so good. Yeah. That's so good. And I love the concept of partnership because, there's a mindset out there that I do it by myself, or I don't need anybody else, and it's all about me. I eat alone, I do it alone, and I build my empire by myself kind of mentality. But chapter 1, from the beginning, you say it is about partnership. In order to gain some of this limitless access that God has for us, you need partners. You
Absolutely.
Need to be able to increase your capability and your capacity.
Absolutely, because listen, this thing is that I've never written a book before. I've never been on a tour before. And that's all that by itself. Let me just back up for a second. Let me just mention the tour. Most people don't know this. This was just intended to be a March devotional for my local church to go through. And we would just go, because that was our theme for the year. I said, well, we're going to go through a 30-day devotional in the month of March, and we're going to do that. And I was sitting at home in my living room, and I was by myself. The house was empty. And the Lord says, what do you want this to do? I said, well, just bless the people at church. He's like, no, what do you want this to do? Then I said, whatever you want it to do. He said, okay, call these 9 people. Now, when he said 9 people flooded my name just like that. And he said, I want you to write a book. And I want you to go on tour. And you go to these 9 places. And these 9 people, 4 of them should have said no right off the bat, just because of their level of influence and what they do. And some of them never really text me right back. It's like days, whatever. Hey, got your text, TC. Hey, man, everything's well. Well, this particular day, most of them must have had nothing to do. I sent texts. all of them shot right back immediately. Sure, come on, can't wait, sure. Mind you, I had not written one word. I hadn't written one word of the book, and here is a 9-city tour is being
gosh.
set up before I've written one word. And
we should all be out on the floor just from that.
So that
says a lot.
Yeah. So that in itself is just just kind of takes me back every time I think about the process.
Yes.
So
the process. And I think so many times we wouldn't have contacted those 9 people until this was in our hands.
Mm-hmm.
But you knew because you were living this as you were writing it.
Let me tell you something about me, man. I'm one of those shoot first, aim second people.
I'm kind of like that too, Bishop, yes.
My wife probably can attest to that, because when the Lord I live by faith, I walk by faith, I talk by faith, I'm a person of faith, my gift is faith, I teach faith, all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so, like when the Lord hits me with something, my wife would tell me all the time, does it mean you got to do it right now? I'm like, listen, it's hot off the press. We don't want this thing to cool off. Let's roll with it.
Right.
And I even
started. You announce a lot of stuff straight out the pulpit.
Yeah, and so, but this was different because let me be honest with you, I was scared.
Okay.
Because I didn't know how it would go.
Okay.
Now, people all can say all the stuff, the Lord called you to do it. Yeah, he did. But you want folk to like it and buy it too.
Right.
And so I had tapped into some of my friends that have written books and gone on tours and things, and I got to give a big shout out to Bennett Creative Group and Bullock Designs. He designed my cover. Bennett Creative Group did all my marketing and stuff, and I had no concept or no clue. That goes back to that partnership. If you don't know, ask. It never hurts you to ask. And so it's just amazing how all of that just really came about, and just the process of writing it. And I don't know if we're not there yet. Okay, gotcha. Okay, I'll leave it there.
Let me do my job. Okay. So what do we need to know about the difference between, this was also a great chapter, acceleration and accumulation that will cause us to live limitlessly? Acceleration
and accumulation. Woo, God.
That chapter was good.
Wasn't it?
That was really good.
I got police in here tonight, so I just, it's about speed limits and stuff like that. I have had a ticket or two in my time. I had a ticket or two in my time. Been a long time ago, but I have had a ticket or two in my time. I ain't by myself. I know some folk watching and had a ticket or two in their time. It's not by myself. But.
Ouch, exactly.
Speed limits are posted for a reason.
Absolutely.
They're posted for a reason. Mm-hmm. And they say that these limits are the safe traveling speed in this particular area. Mm-hmm. So, if you're in the city, it's 35 unless otherwise posted. School zones, 25, 15 when lights flashed and whatever. You hit the highway, it's 70. Man, I was shocked. I went out to Phoenix. Man, the speed limit out there, 75, 80. I was like, man. So, but I didn't have a fast car, so it really didn't count.
It didn't matter.
But anyway, we see speed limits. We see speed limit signs. And so you accelerate to that limit. Mm-hmm. But here's the issue or the conundrum. Your car has 160, 120 on the odometer. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't mean that your car cannot do 160. Mm. But somebody has done the scientific study and the research that in this particular area, you only need 35 miles per hour of strength to move.
Wow.
So it's not, the limit that should really give a person the problem. And I think what happens is that we see our life, we see 160 in our life.
Okay.
But God is saying you need to run right here in a 70 mile an hour zone. because you it's safe right here.
Okay.
You know how to handle friends right here. You know how to make better decisions right here. You know how to stop. You know how to start better right here. But if you going 160 in a 70-mile-an-hour zone of your life, then you know what, if you hit something, it's going to be catastrophic.
Absolutely.
And
good.
And so that's the part, the acceleration part. The accumulation deals with, especially in Eastern North Carolina. If you even say the words,
don't.
Oh, you haven't even seen anything yet.
Oh, yeah.
Bread off the shelf. I mean, milk is, I hadn't got the milk concept yet because we use power. Where you going to put the milk? I guess you put outside
in the snow. Yes, sir.
In the snow. But, so anyway, people are moving based off of what they heard.
Wow.
Haven't seen anything whatsoever. And so the meteorologist comes on and says, well, we're going to get a snowstorm. School shuts down. Mm-hmm. We're in our kitchen window looking out. Has it started yet? Has it started yet? And, you know, we're up 12 o'clock at night. Has anything fallen yet? And nothing has fallen here in Eastern North Carolina. Mm-hmm. But yet, when the snow does fall and it accumulates, accumulated snowfall makes you walk differently. You can't just walk on the sidewalk when there's ice and snow. You have to step circumspectly. Yes. You have to be careful because now traction has changed due to accumulation.
Sir.
And you got to be careful that when you're blessed, your life's traction changes.
Yes, sir.
And you have to start walking differently and talking differently because you can't afford to slip up and say something wrong with all this going on. You know, especially with social media cameras going, you know, people recording and everything like that. Absolutely. And if you have accumulated a lot of influence, you can't let everybody tack on to you.
Wow.
That makes sense?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You have to be careful what you accumulate.
Got to be very careful. So when that accumulation, like I said, and then the accumulation too, it's also a faith element in that. That's really not in the book. This is kind of in between the lines thought for a second. I remember when we had 24 inches of snow, we were living in Raleigh. And man, it was beautiful. I mean, kids were out of school. We were out having snowball fights and everything. But I remember seeing people walk from the food line back home because the snow was so deep. They couldn't take little steps. They had to lift up high and step as far as they could to move as far as they can due to the accumulation. When God accumulates things in your life, it causes you to take big steps. So no more baby steps, you know. I mean, you know, because this walk with God, you know, we have our baby walk, we have our adolescent walk, right. But then there comes a time that there's a mature walk that you have to take a big step. And this book for me, man, was a big step. It was a big step.
Wow, that's so good. That is so good. I know it's hard since you've written the whole book. But if you had a favorite chapter,
oh man,
what is it and why is it your favorite?
My favorite chapter in the book. Actually, I've said this a couple of times. My favorite chapter in the book is "Look in the Garbage."
Oh yes.
That's my favorite chapter. That speaks so much to me personally, first of all, because I'm an only child and didn't have any brothers and sisters, and you know, I grew up trying to fit in and wanting people to accept me and to like me and this and this and this and this and that. And but the reason why that's my favorite chapter because I got into a little bit of trouble when I was 19 years old, and that caused me to go to a boot camp, you know. And I was there in a boot camp. I showed up. They called me kindergarten kid because I looked so young. You know, I was 11 or 12 years old. And so it was a military structured camp. And they called them team leaders, but they were just like drill sergeants. As soon as you get there, they're in your face, they're grilling you, they're trying to get you to what they call sign out, which was to quit the program. And And I never forget, we'd get up at 5 o'clock, just like a military regiment, and start PT and start running. And there was this one guy, I didn't know what his problem was. I didn't know why he always looking at me every time. But no matter where I was in the ranks, he would find me and say, "Daniels, speed up, get, I would go to chow. He would say, what are you eating gravy for today?" So it was always something constantly with me. And so my team leader, her name was Miss Eldridge. She watching, Miss Eldridge, you know who I am. And she would call everybody Rock. She would never call you your name. She said, "Rock." She was like, "Get out there in the garbage house." I didn't do anything. And I'm like, and everybody knew garbage house was the disciplinary place to be. Just trash cans, they come out there, dump the trash, you put in the trash truck, and that's where you were. And so I was mad. I was this close to quitting because I didn't do anything. Have you felt like something happened to you that you didn't do anything to deserve? And you almost have like that why me concept.
Right.
And it was bad enough I'm in the hills of Pennsylvania and trying to fight through this thing. Now you're adding insult to injury or trying to kick a man while he's down. And so anyway, I stayed out there for maybe a month or so. And she brought me in and I worked in the boiler room. I didn't notice this at the time. And after a conversation later, she brought me into the boiler room when it got cold outside because it was getting like 15 degrees during the day, -7 at night. So I said, "Oh, okay." But the day we graduated, she says, you thought I didn't like you, right? I said, "Yeah, you didn't like me." And my mom and dad was on the way to come pick me up. I was like, she said, "No, that wasn't the problem at all." She said, "Why you think I put you in the garbage house?" I said, "Because you didn't like me." I said, "No, that wasn't it at all." She said, "I put you in the garbage house because I liked you."
Wow.
I said, "Well, it didn't make any sense to me." And I said, "Tell me why you did." She said, "Because your name was being said too much in the mouths of wrong people. And I wanted to show them that you were being disciplined. Because if you notice, whoever goes to the garbage house, they forget who's out there. So I wanted you to be out there long enough so they could forget who you are, so I could move you where I wanted you to be." Sound like God, doesn't it? Sometimes he'll put us in a place that is so stinky, messy, undesirable, that nobody else wants to come to. Nobody else wants to associate with. But looking back on it, it was the easiest work. Dump trash, sit on a bucket. Nobody bothered you. Nobody wanted to be associated with it. And that was really, it was my hiding place, not my hurting place. And then this, I'm about ready to stand up. This is what really got me is that nobody else came out there to the garbage house to get me except her, which is to say she knew where she put me. And I come to encourage somebody tonight, don't get discouraged if you feel like you're in the garbage house. God knows where he puts you. And if he knows where he puts you, he is going to come and he's going to come and get you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That right there.
That's why it's my favorite.
Oh my gosh. Oh yes. Oh yes. I see why that is your favorite now. Wow. That was so good. I want to read this passage to you and then ask you a question. In chapter 6, stick to the subject. Romans chapter 4 is one of my favorite chapters in the Bible, as Abraham displays strength beyond human comprehension. Abraham did not try to avoid the subject matter of him and Sarah as an elderly couple, nor the deadness of Sarah's womb. He took all of that into consideration and placed all the cards on the table. Abraham understood they had to work with what they were given and said, "So be it." Abraham had reached the place where amounts no longer mattered because limitless access was vividly on display. I call this the place of the "so be it." This is where you take a personal inventory and say with confidence, "This is all I have, and I know that God can work with what I have left. The defining and encouraging thought in all of this is that God knew what you had in inventory before he called you to take this journey. My question is, tell us why it's okay to be in the place of so be it. Because we often hear negative connotations of so be it, like you're just resigned to it not being enough or you're not getting what you desire. Why is it okay to be in the place of so be it?
I think what makes it okay to be in the place, I like that, of so be it, it's not that you don't care. It's just you're taking care of what you have. Because God knew that Sarah couldn't have kids. He knew he called Abraham out to ministry at 75. 100 when he decided to do something with him.
Right. Yeah.
He knew all of this, and he took all that into account. God did that, not Abram. God did that. Mm-hmm. And so now, when my wife likes to say the word, when Abram became aware. Mm-hmm. I want to bring it up to the 21st century, Eliza, for a second. Maybe he's in the shower one day looking at his pecs droop. You know, looking at the quadriceps as not as defined as they used to be when he was 25. Yeah. And, you know, looking at his hands and they're wrinkling, looking at his face and the fine lines are getting more vivid. And the hair is gray. And he finally comes to the conclusion and says, man, you know what? I'm not an old guy, but God knew this. And if he knew it, he must can do something that I can't. So guess what? If you can do what you say you can do and you know I can't do it, so be it. Because I'm not on the line, you are.
Right. Yes.
And I think what happens with us sometimes is when God gives us a dream or gives us a vision or gives us a concept, a strategy, or an idea, we act like we on the line. If he gave it to you, it's his name that's on the line, not yours.
Right, absolutely, yes, sir.
And that's why you can walk around. It's not that I don't care. It's just I'm just taking care of what he said.
Right.
You know, it helps you sleep better at night.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good. So it is okay to be in the place of so be it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay. How has the concept of limitless played out in your own life? We talked about one example, but even since writing the book or while writing the book, how has the concept of limitless continued to play out in your life?
All right. First of all, like I said, just writing this thing was, my wife can attest to this fact. Every Tuesday and Thursday, if you want to get anything done, man, you have to set a goal.
Yes.
You have to plan for it.
Right.
Every Tuesday and Thursday from 1 to 3, 1 to 4, I set up at a Starbucks in front of Pitt Community College here in town. And I would put my phone on Do Not Disturb and, you know, family emergencies that could get through. But outside of that, you know, unless somebody had died or something that, you know, serious had happened, I didn't allow anything to interrupt me for 4 months during those 2 days. But one particular day, normally I could get in, I could write, I could type, I can listen to music. I would have this certain track of exam study music playing, and it was like a rhythm in my head, and and I could normally pick up. But one day I'd never forget, I had my Beat headphones in my hand, and I ordered my signature drink, a grande white mocha with soy, no whipped cream, stirred well, from Starbucks. That was my thing. That's got me going. I had my beats. Everything was good. But this one day, I had my book bag on my back, and I went into Starbucks. I got the drink, and I just didn't feel it. I didn't feel it. I went beyond didn't feel it. I was like, man, I don't want to do this. This is a lot of time. It's a lot of energy. I don't want to do this. And then I was saying, nobody knows me. What makes me want to read this? I don't want to do this. So all of the negative stuff started coming up, you know, man, I don't want to pull, time from the church. I want to serve the people of God well. I want to be a good husband. I want to be a good dad. I don't want to invest all this money and I want to have a garage full of books. Nobody knows me. And so I sat there, and nothing would come. And it's like the Lord whispered to me and just said, you don't want to do this, do you? I said, nope. Nope. I mean, Lord, like that. We talk like that every now and then. And the strangest reply came back to me. It's okay, I'll accept that. Sit there until want to shows up. That'll make you take you back for a minute. Well, it's like, Lord, why not just say, well, all right, pack up, go home, and just try this tomorrow.
Right.
You know, I see you gave it your best shot. So no, sit there until the desire shows up. And so I was staring at the cup. The book bag is still on my back. I haven't even took it off. I had the beats on the table, and I'm just sitting there looking out the window, watching traffic pass by Memorial. And about 45 to 50 minutes later, it's like a rain came. And I took the book bag off. And I never had another moment like that in the entire process.
Wow.
And watch this, when it came, it was at the halfway point.
Okay.
I had some done, and I had some to do. Right. And I was like satisfied with what I had done, and didn't want to give any more effort to what I had to do. When you realize you got some left, you have to sit there until want to shows up.
Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. I got to keep doing my job because I just want to be like, what? Yes. But that is such great motivation for people, because I know that there are people that have projects and dreams and books inside of them. And we often feel like we have to wait for this wonderful bolt of inspiration and motivation and, you know, feeling like it to do that. But you had to sit there until want to showed up.
It's not exciting.
What was that like? Like at the first few minutes? Was it torture? Uncomfortable?
It's almost like, anybody ever want to tell your parents off? But
no,
you knew
mine
better.
Are here. No,
but you
never.
you knew better. It was like this. Okay, anybody ever? You were telling the truth, but then your parents would say, "You calling me a lie, aren't you?
Oh.
You calling me a lie?"
No, I don't know what that's
like.
I don't know anything about that.
No, I'm not calling you a lie. I'm just telling you what I'm saying is the truth. But I don't want to get my chin checked telling you that I'm telling you the truth. That's how that moment kind of felt.
Okay.
Like, God, you know I don't want to do this.
Right.
Okay, I wasn't the first one who went through that. There was a guy by the name of Jerry Meyer. I said, I don't want to preach no more. You unfair. Every time you give me something to say, it's not the happy preaching message that everybody else get. You give me the doom and gloom stuff. We gonna die, you gonna judge, you gonna burn up, you gonna destroy. I gotta say stuff like that. So, and make me cry. That's why they call him the weeping prophet. He said, well, since that's the case, I'm not gonna do this no more. But there's something deeper in my bone than marrow. And it's like fire. And then he even told God, you know this ain't fair.
Right.
You stronger than I am. You mightier than I am. You just listen to me, just turn in my resignation letter, you just start laughing. And I think that's what happened. I had written a cognitive resignation letter.
Gotcha.
But yet, creativity overrode what I felt like I did not have the cognitive energy to complete. Whenever you feel like you're drained, you're burned out, realize, man, that's when you become, I believe, that's one of your most creative points, is when it feels like you're just about to quit. That's when you got to get creative. Now, see, I don't know about you, but, you know, I'm a country boy. I come from meager beginnings. And oodles and noodles, man. Anybody know about that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Oodles and noodles, top
yeah.
ramen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the peanut butter with the oil on the top, where you had to stir it and break the spoon and stuff. You know, it was, yeah, you know, the good government cheese.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I'll never forget, we were at home, we were all hungry, man, because, you know, we were doing the best we had, hadn't gone grocery shopping yet. And we got some flour, some sugar, a little vanilla flavor, and made these little raw vanilla sugar balls. I know it might not sound good now because we have more to eat. But when you're at the point where you don't have anything, it causes you to become creative.
Wow.
When you're down to your last, it causes you. I call it my faith survival kit.
Wow.
You know, they have these survival knives where at the end of it, you have a compass, a little match, a little hook or something like that. You know, when it comes down, you got to make sure that in your kit, man, that you always keep creativity in your kit. Never get in a condition where you can't be creative. Because creativity leads to survival. And once you survive, you can be successful.
Wow. So tap into your inner MacGyver.
Yeah. Your inner A-team. Go into the cornfield and come out with a tank.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Right.
That's how you do it.
Exactly. Make a bomb with a paper clip and a rubber band.
There you go.
And a light bulb.
That's it.
Wow. That's good. Anything else you want to say about your writing process? That was very good. Because I know that there's some people out here among your congregation watching on Facebook that might feel like I have a book inside of me. I know that there's a book inside of me. Is there something you would tell them to get them started?
Let me say it like this. And you don't want to make the process become a prostitute.
Ooh.
You say, what does that mean? What does that mean? Of course, we know what a prostitute is. Person who gives themselves up for money, you know, and those types of things. And the reason why I say that, you want to keep the process pure because the prostitute know what they're getting paid for.
Okay.
And a lot of times people start down the literary journey with the process being prostituted. Well, if I write this, it's going to get me that. Or if I do this, if I get in front of this person, I'll get there. If I do that, I'll get this. If I can just get somebody to say something about this, I'll sell this. I'm writing it to be a bestseller author on New York Times. If that's why you're doing it, then don't do it.
Okay.
Because now the process is no longer pure. Right. For myself, I didn't write this to get on the Word Network. I had no concept of the Word Network. I had no concept that folk would buy it. I had no concept that I would finish it.
Started off as a devotion.
Matter of fact, I didn't finish it in Starbucks.
Okay.
I finished it at home. I was in my kitchen. I think maybe like 10 words I had to type. And I was in the dark, actually. And I just had my laptop on the kitchen table. And, you know, I was trying to be a man's man, man's man. You know, man, don't cry like that. My wife's sitting in there watching TV. And I hit the period. And after I hit the period, it's like a wave of emotion just like gushed. And I'm trying to be all cute, just wiping out. But man, it was an ugly cry. And my wife walked in there, and I think she saw it, and she didn't say anything. She was just rubbing my back because it was like, I finished this part. I finished what he told me to start. And so, like, I didn't sell a book. I hadn't made an Instagram post. I hadn't been on Facebook. I hadn't told anybody about the book whatsoever. You know, it was just that, mind you, a tour was ahead before I finished the book.
Yeah.
And so when I hit that period, and then it was like, man, it was just a gushing of emotions. And I was just thankful to the Lord that God would allow me to do this. He could have chosen anybody to write this book and to do whatever, but to choose me. And then the process being pure of going to, I started in Durham. I went from Durham. I went to Maryland, New York, New Jersey, Florida, Phoenix. I mean, Memphis. Like, I had no idea that stuff would happen. And but here's the big thing. Here's the big thing. And I had promised myself something when I finished writing the book. This is why it's good to have a partner. Let me sum up. This is a good teaching thing with preaching. Let me close with this. my wife, I told my wife, I said, I'm not going to do that. And she knows what I'm talking about. I said, I'll do it next year. She's like, no, you need to do that. If you said you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And I was able to do something with the book that I didn't think I was going to be able to do. And I gave it to who I needed to give it to with just a thank you, because this was a person that helped me, inspired me through the process.
Sure.
And that, like I said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy in the book for me. That gave me access not only in the realm that I was in, but also to another level in what God wants to do. Now, here it is. I'm thinking that I'm ending this journey of Limitless, but I found out it's dangerous to keep dreaming.
Got that right.
Because you have to keep paying.
Okay.
Dreams come with a reoccurring payment plan.
Yes, sir. Wow.
It's not one time. And you say this to me all the time as we talk, and I hear other people say this to me. My team has said it to me. Matter of fact, they said it to me before we all went on tour, because they got an exclusive copy. Like, Bishop, I can't wait for the next one. I said, I can.
Yeah, you did say that. That was your response.
And so everybody's like, what's next? What's next? What's next? And so I know that there is more to come.
Yes, sir.
And so just be careful when you start a destiny journey, because it's going to require you to keep paying. The bigger it is, the larger the payment.
Wow, that's great.
So keep the process pure. Don't be on social media checking to see who like it and don't like it, and this. I mean, there's a part of marketing and all that. But what I'm saying is, don't let that be your superficial fuel to do it. Because people will root you on today and forget about you tomorrow.
What?
But what keeps the process pure is, and for me, is knowing that this was inspired by God to write, and that's why I did it. I didn't do it to become anything. All of what it has done on its own merit. And here's the kicker: what it has done, people told me I would have to pay somebody. Literally, I would have to pay somebody, or you're going to have to get in good with this person, or you're going to have to know this person in order to get what you want.
Wow.
And I said, no, God don't turn tricks like that.
Ooh.
He don't do that. He doesn't do stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Because if you look, somebody told me that when I said you have to hold out how you start out.
Absolutely.
So if you start out paying people off, you're gonna have to continue paying people off. You're going to have to finish paying people off. And I tell my wife all the time, I don't want to have to say I owe nobody anything except to love them. And so all of what has happened and all that people have seen that has transpired with the book, it has been all of God. And it hadn't been easy, but it's that will, it's that desire, and it's just that knowing, it's that passion, it's that fuel, man, that just keeps you pumping and keeps you going. You know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that, Bishop.
Yeah.
One last question. So I believe in actionable steps, things that people can start doing as soon as they hit end on this Facebook Live, as soon as they walk out of the sanctuary tonight. And this is the time of year, being December, we're approaching the new year.
Yeah.
People are goal setting, they're reflecting back on this year, and they're looking forward to next year and beyond. What are some actionable steps to help make the concept of living a limitless life come alive?
No, we talked about that earlier. I have a parable, I have a story that I can just share with you that really, and it's in the book too, but if I tell it sometime, it kind of helps bring it out a little bit. This pastor in a small agricultural town was suffering significantly because it had not rained in months. People losing their job, losing their homes, because there's no income, there's no work, and the pastor talked to God and said, God, I need to lead these people in the way of truth. They're desperate. They're in despair. They're turning against each other. Help me. And the Lord says to the pastor, have a meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at the church. But only invite people of faith. Don't invite church people. Don't invite religious people. Only invite serious people of faith. And have them pray at 7 o'clock in the church. And after prayer, I'm going to send rain. Pastor's excited. He's running through the town, running through the streets, getting the word out. Hey, everybody, prayer at church tonight at 7 o'clock. I've heard from God. God promises to send rain. But you got to have faith. I only want those who are in faith tonight to be at the church at 7 o'clock. Well, 6:30, the church is jam-packed because everybody's wanting it to rain. And there is the standing room only. Well, 7 o'clock comes. This guy rushes through the door in overalls. He's dirty, just getting off of one of the few jobs that's left in the town. And what happened was the deacon started singing the song and started getting everything going so they could start prayer. And the pastor stood up with a concerned look on his face. And he stopped the service, stopped the deacon from singing. And everybody's looking, all astonished and amazed, like, what's going on, And pastor, no, I'm sorry. We can't have service tonight. We cannot have prayer tonight. And the guy that came in late, just getting off work, dusty with coveralls on, he said, Pastor, wait a minute. He said, wait a minute. He said, what you mean we're not having service tonight? I got off work early to get here. You know how hard it is to have work in this town? He said, sir, I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. I don't mean to do anything to you or anything like that. But I significantly asked people of faith to be here. Only people, I was clear I needed people of faith to be here. He said, what do you mean, Pastor? I'm here. I'm getting off work early. Isn't that a sign? I'm still in my work clothes. I still smell like my job. Isn't that a sign that I got faith here? He said, okay. He said, sir, he said, do me a favor. He said, if you can show me one umbrella in this church, then we'll have prayer.
Wow.
Because if the people really believed it was going to rain after the service, everybody would have had an umbrella. Which is to say, we hear a lot of people say, God told me to do this. Well, why did you stop?
Ooh, ow.
Or why didn't you ever start? So the biggest actionable step that I can leave with everybody in here tonight, those who are watching and people in this room tonight, is be sure that you know why you're starting.
Wow. Why you started.
Be sure.
Okay.
That you know the why. Because the why can deal with the worry.
Wow.
The why can deal with the wind and the storms.
Yes.
The why will make you step out of the boat, even when you don't see a platform.
Oh, wow, that's good. Was that good?
Yeah.
I've already read the book twice. Now you're going to make me read it again before the end of the year, because I do feel like Limitless is truly not just a story, but it is definitely a strategy. For those of you that are watching via Facebook, it is available on Amazon.com. Please go and support and get this book by Bishop T.C. Daniels. It truly will impact and change your life for the better. For those of you that are here with us today, we have some products over here, not just Limitless, and Bishop is here obviously to sign them, but also other things as well. So make sure you get this as stocking stuffers. Get this for your friends and sit down and read it together and really discover and find out how you can apply the concepts and the strategies of living a limitless life to your everyday life. This is not just a book that sits pretty on your shelf. This can become a tool to help you accomplish what God puts on your heart and what God has put in you to live out on this earth. Bishop, Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being such a gift to the body of Christ. Thank you for being obedient, even when you didn't want to.
Yeah.
And you sat there. How many are thankful that he sat there until want to showed up? Oh, wow. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I am looking forward to part 2, 3, and 4. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Facebook is live. People are loving what you are saying. So I hope you go back and read comments and people are saying,
Absolutely.
yes, that's good. And so if you please be sure to share this again. And those of you that are watching via Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. And also share it from your to your personal page as well. People need to hear this concept of living a limitless life that is not about the amount. It is about the access.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Any closing words for us, Bishop?
Hey, thank you. Thank you for everybody who has read and those who will read and those who will purchase. We appreciate you so
And
much.
when you read this, whether you are on Facebook or here in the audience, please go to Amazon and leave a review.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
is how things become #1 Amazon bestsellers. This book needs to be a #1 Amazon bestseller. So if you've already read it, go to Amazon, leave a review.
Good deal.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you, Bishop.
Oh, thank you.